Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Let's roll.
Morning, Sergeant Major.
How do you know what kind of goddamn day it is?
Beautiful morning, Sergeant Major.
Are you a fucking weatherman now?
You're listening to Sergeant's Time on WTF Nation Radio.
Welcome. Broadcasting live from the Functional Veterans Center of Excellence on this 17 April. Damn, 17 April already. Broadcasting deep within the basement of the Pentagon. Maybe somewhere in Area 51. Shit. Or how about the Alamo? Vandenberg Space Force Base out in Cali. Man, I know Thursdays are Sergeant's Time, but maybe we need to switch it to Monday? Huh? What's that? What you talking about? What you mean, Insomniac? So, thank you guys for tuning in. Spanky is out doing the Spanky thing. Oh, Motor Pool Mondays, yeah. Yeah, this is like, this should be a 4-day weekend for most of the services, with the exception of the Air Force. I heard the Air Force. Hey, what's up, Gary? I heard the Air Force is doing away with. They've signed a memo or something like that, and taking away 4-day weekends or something like that. And I'm just gonna be like, the military disappointing you. First time. It's still snowing in Montana. Yeah, dude. The wind is like shifting like crazy. In some places, it's gotten really cold to where you don't even know. Wow. You've been wearing the Gold Corp hat. Not sure how to answer when someone asks what it is. Just tell them it's a meme. Or you could tell them it's the world premiere non-Fiat PMC. There you go, Gold Corp. Yeah, dude, this weather has been crazy because in some spots when the clouds open up, it gets really bright. Like right now, it's got the sun shining and stuff in here. And I'm like, man. Yeah, Spanky got rid of all them Donzas. She doesn't like the term Donza. But at any rate, welcome to Sergeant's Time. Here to give you your LPD and give you some updates on all the mill news, chats, drama, chisme, I was going to say. For those who know, chisme is slang in Spanish for tea, all the gossip, all the smoke pit stuff. A lot of the stuff Army-related happens once a week. There's so much content for Monday edition, it seems like it happens during the week. Ah, gotcha, yeah. Yeah, I see. That's why we have two shows. Most of it's military-related. Some of it's political opinion-related for Monday. So for those that don't know or the unaware, that's what we have for the Monday edition. But... So, look, I'm just going to jump right into this. We got some, look, guys. Okay. How do I say this? Somewhere in the mix, somebody is doing something to torpedo any guidance that's coming out from the top. And I'm going to say this again, like I've always said. Every time you have somebody in that is of your political... who you voted for or you didn't vote for, hey, that's cool. That's no big deal, right? Most of us who've served under several administrations, like my old ass, no new taxes, Bush 1. How about that? So I was Bush 1. I came in around that time during Bush 1. And a lot of individuals who have served at the time said, yep, whatever, blah, 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 kept it under their breath and all that. But when it came to their professionalism, we didn't have social media back in the day anyways. You rarely saw it happen, or you rarely saw, anybody get pissed off. And if you did see it, it was probably amongst like-minded individuals, and it never got out of control. So we got something in the inbox that, well, actually, we've been getting something in the inbox that everybody's running with and posting. So if you go to all the other Mill meme pages and all the Mill media pages, you'll see about what's been sent out at Camp Arif Jan, Kuwait. Now, everyone says Kuwait is not a deployment. And for those of you guys that first started off in the GWAT, when it first happened, for all you GWAT individuals out there, or those of you that actually have served in the GWAT during the invasion of both Afghanistan and Iraq, Qatar and Kuwait was used as a decompression point. For guys that were in the invasion and stuff like that. Didn't matter what it was. Didn't matter what your field was. Didn't matter. Everybody was from north came down to the south and did 96s or 72 hours, or some a little break right there if they're going to be in there. The way the units rotated it out, I've seen it. I've seen it on 96s, and I've seen it was different. At any rate, Qatar and Kuwait were considered R&R. So that way you can go decompress, and units picked, of course, as operations were going. Because for a minute there, everyone thought we were going to have a great time in Iraq. We were going to do a stabilization operations like in Kosovo, right? Ain't nobody going to shoot us. Until the Mahdi militia and the fucking Muqtada al-Sadr decided to change his mind. For you Sadr boys out there, Sadr City boys, and gals. So that Kuwait was used as like I said, I'm gonna use Kuwait right now. They built the Chili's. There's a Chili's there. There's it's R&R. There's pool. I mean, there's commands that are there. There's a whole brigade there in Camp Buring as well. So there's a lot of going back and forth with how it's treated. Now look, idle hands, right? You're in a Muslim country and you can't do shit. Not like you can go to a Hooters or something like that, right? Though I think world peace would happen if they had a Hooters there. But that's just me. Or Band-Aids, depending on what your soup du jour. At any rate, so you saw guys and gals rotating in and out to Kuwait for R&R. And when that happened, everyone took their break, blah, blah, blah. And we've had people that come by. You normally would send your Joes or somebody that normally had like an incident, like they were in a convoy and they got a little frazzled and stuff like that when their convoy got attacked. Some cases that I've seen that way as well. Just take a break. You get sent out and you come back and then that's whatever. Well, we got something. We've been getting this document in the mail about this letter of technical direction. And we're thinking about, hey, maybe we should redact some of the info, or maybe we should get some of that. Nah, this thing's been circulating the web so freaking much. We like, you know what? It's just going to post it. So the purposes of letter of technical direction is to cease conducting recreational activities other than sports and fitness. Recreational activities to cease include bingo, 9-ball, Jenga, board games, cards, ping pong, dominoes, and video game tournaments. Now I have one of my deployments. I was one of the freaking I was a rock band drummer. We had a little fun with that. As well as carnivals. I'm reading your guys' carnivals, line dancing, karaoke, and arts and crafts. Armed Forces Entertainment does not apply to this LOT. So that was we're going to see the Tops in Blue or the Soldier Show or whatever. That's Armed Forces Entertainment. Some of it was funny. Don't get me wrong. When I did see Tops in Blue one time at the area that I was at one time, and this applies to activities on Camp Arif Jan and Camp Buring. Didn't they call that place Udari at one time? It was the Udari Range or something like that. And I'm old. But anyways, the justification for this is to follow the Secretary of Defense guidance to focus on warfighting. Now, but no cards. It says no cards, man. Sorry, Baconator. No cards. Okay, great question there, Patrick. Great. Man, I was about ready to say. They said they won't adjust payment on the contract, so it's a free pass for them to just eat that money. Exactly. Everyone played spades. Everyone played dominoes. You know, there are some individuals that, how do I say this, are not sports inclined. Like they're not, they're the ones that you never would know that wouldn't want to play football or don't play football. And they go and they come back from the north. And again, this was back in the day. It would be Iraq or something like that, or Afghanistan. And then you would see, well, nowadays in this timeline, in our other Infinity War of Iraq and Syria. So you would see, you'd have soldiers come down for R&R. Now look, I'll be honest with you. Every study that we've seen for video games, for behavioral health, mental wellness, and all this other stuff that everyone likes to talk about for the troops, right? For the vets, for war fighters, have all been connected to behavioral health issues by decompressing, by playing those games. Now, of course, everyone's like, social night, blah, 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 whatever. Yeah, I don't care. I mean, personally, I don't care. Like, if there is an issue with obviously some readiness and your camp or fob or cough, whatever, cop, whatever you want to, whatever names are coming out in doctor now, are getting constantly attacked, I get that. I can see that. But I laugh because this has a big Sarge wearing PT belt wearing malicious compliance. Now, I don't like using that term because that doesn't look like it's malicious compliance. But really, here's where I need the DOD to come down with their rapid response stuff. I need to come down and say, hey, is this shit true? Did you really say this? Is this stuff really coming out? Did you say that now we're going to cancel all this MWR shit? Does that include the USO? Does that mean I'm not going to see the Raiderettes for my favorite football team show up when I want R&R? What's the definition? Why is this happening? Now, I stopped the justification of to follow the Secretary of Defense guidance to focus on warfighting. Is this kind of like a scapegoat situation where, hey, we've been looking forward to cutting this shit. We'll just use the Secretary of Defense to cut this out. Well, being the fact that no one's explained it to us, specifically from the Army, specifically from the DOD, that we've got no idea, okay, what the fuck is the deal with this? Well, you could go to the sports and gym. Yeah, no more Madden tournaments. Yeah. A friend of mine said, this is going to spark underground Jenga games. You're going to go into a tent and all of a sudden you're going to see, troops throwing money down for Jenga. So does that mean you're going to close down Chili's? I'm just asking because, I mean, if this is malicious compliance and people are being stupid about it, why aren't you doing this? It's funny when you see individuals saying, yeah, fuck that. We don't need to have this shit downrange, but are immediately going, you don't fucking like vets. Our veterans, 22 a day, rah, rah, rah. This is the same thing that happened when we were starting to have formation runs in combat zones. That should be fucking cut the fuck out. How about that? Everybody wants morale, but don't want to be about morale. I get it. I'm all about the fitness stuff. Our forces need to be fit. Our forces need to be ready to fight. Everybody wants morale, but don't want to be about morale. I get it. I'm all about the fitness stuff. I don't think I've seen nothing since April 14th. But they're really quick on Twitter, which I don't get it. Now, not everybody has X. You shouldn't force somebody to go on X to get your message out when you should be broadcasting your message on all platforms. It seems like the Department of Defense is more active on social media than the leaders that are underneath them from the services. The Army does not want to be on social media anymore. Does the Navy want to be? I'll say the Marine Corps is on there too. Does that mean that Anne Margaret is not going to be at the US? They're damn right, exactly that. Like I was saying, man, I can't see the Raiderettes. Could you imagine if this came out and Robin Williams was still alive, and everybody knows that Robin Williams and Toby Keith, they all toured together all across the war zones, and they showed up and were there for the troops at Camp Arifjan, and were there for other games. Look at that. Video game tournaments. Dude. All right. If this is the hill you want to die on, stop throwing up moto vids when everyone's going to say, yeah, but you can't have fucking fun. MWR is important. Morale operations are important to a military. Yeah, Frogan. Yes, that's going to be a Monday edition conversation. We should posted Frogan on a Monday show about how she was wishing that all soldiers would get from PTSD, and now she's all upset because karma's happening. So I see this as using the excuse. Here's the thing. It almost seems like during the last administration, the Army or the military was running buckshot because our administration, the administration from the last time, wasn't really paying attention. When we could go on the Monday edition conversation about the cognitive abilities of our last president. But what I'm saying though is that I think the military ran buckshot on the administration because they weren't fucking paying attention, nor did they give a fuck about military shit, which is why things got out of control. And now that we have a new administration, individuals are butthurt and pissed off because of it. What are you trying to do? Lose followers? I don't care, dude. I'm just asking. Yeah, good chow at John. Yeah, there was some good chow out there. That's some good chow out there. So again, I'm just want to say, hey, are we doing this smart? Because I honestly think that it's some malicious compliance shit going on. Individuals getting all pissed off and they're like, I'm gonna fucking do this and I'm gonna blame the SecDef. See, the SecDef doesn't care about troops. Next thing you know, the Bluey play will show up. Hey, don't diss Bluey. So the reason why I brought this up with the malicious compliance stuff is that there was a former Pentagon spokesman tied to the online DEI purge and was asked to resign. Former Pentagon spokesperson John Uliot was asked to resign following the contentious start for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's communications office. A senior official told the Associated Press. He was one of the initial communications office hires and oversaw some of the most highly visible but controversial moves, including a broad edict to the military services to strip away all the online images that were considered a promotion of DEI. And of course, obviously that led to some public outcry when our national heroes like Jackie Robinson and others were removed. So again, Colin Carroll, Chief of Staff of the Deputy Defense Secretary Stephen Feinberg, and what was that? Yeah, Darren Selnick, and Deputy Chief of Staff for Hegseth, and Dan Caldwell, aide to Hegseth, were placed on leave amid a leak investigation. So, dude, I don't know, man. I think, and I'll be honest with you, and I said this too, and I know some of my PAO friends will get mad when I say this, but I'm gonna have to say to the public affairs community, you're not the fucking commander, you're not in fucking charge. It's not your call to make some of these decisions. Nobody, I personally don't think that he actually said, get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of this. Now, if he did, correct me, I want to see it. If he didn't get this done or take this down, I don't think that's what his intent was. But he said to take it down. What position is the new guy in? He's like 23. Yeah, I saw that. There's a new individual in there, and I'm kind of like, I always give people the benefit of the doubt, but I just say, yeah, he's fairly young. So, just saying. Bluey is an Australian cartoon for kids. He's been playing with him. I don't know if you help me up. Hang on for a sec. I just got an important text. I'm drawing what was that? I'm drawing such a blank on the online to E4 to E5 with a terrible situation. Hey, you know what? We were highlighted. U.S. Army W.T.F. almost in W.T.F. Nation Radio was highlighted. It was highlighted in that. The front leaning restaurant, yeah, where the guy's on top of the girl, and then the guy walks in, or the guy that's the guy that the guy that says that somebody posted something on U.S. Army W.T.F. moments and all that. So yeah, hang on right quick. Or come on after. Trying to give you guys an update on something, and I want to know if the individual that can provide a better update than me can come on here and shoot the shit about it. So, apologies. Anyways, so again, the whole Jenga thing, the whole removing, like I said, don't fuck with soldiers' morale. But again, I want to know if it is no shit somebody making that decision because they're all they're doing that malicious compliance stuff. People get pretty pissed off, man, when you talk about it. Hey, don't be afraid of talking about the administration about some stuff like that. Okay, cool. We're gonna have an update on something, and I'm gonna have our point of contact. There we go. You should be able to challenge. You should be able to like, if they say they're going to do something, then obviously ask. It's not to ding on anybody. It's just to find out the facts, because the troops are seeing this. The soldiers at the service members are seeing this. They might start playing Jenga with whole new buildings. Yeah, or like I said, an underground Jenga network. So, yeah. So again, don't do it. Don't do it. Am I gonna? Yeah. There's more. Glad you brought that up. There is more. Look, guys, stop. Guys and gals, stop. Okay. Just stop with the command photo stuff. I get it. Some of you don't like who's in charge now. That doesn't fucking matter. Soldier up and update your fucking boards, because it's not work. Or take the boards down all to begin with. Just take them all down. Last week we discussed it as well. But we're getting more images of more commands to include universities now. Of the professor of military sciences now updating their boards. I suggest you do it. It will not bode well for you if you don't. I'm just saying. Might as well pass out some Play-Doh. Yeah, really. So it's frustrating. We'll see this. Is masturbation still allowed? Ooh, I don't know, man. Hang on for a sec. So the person that I want to give have an update on something is going to be coming up, and it was going to be the topic of the next conversation anyway. So do this. Oh, wait, is he on there? Here's a tiny unit. Yeah, here's a tiny unit Rubik's Cube. Go crazy. Sorry, guys. I'm. Oh, never mind. Okay, real quick. This is that topic of the next conversation I was going to bring up. And now I'm able to do it. And joining us right now, hot off the press, is Anthony Anderson. And let me get him set up on the green room because he has some information that he wanted to update us. Well, actually, there's been some updates that I wanted to discuss, but I figured why not bring the man himself to talk about it. So, all right. See you, man. How you doing, brother? What's going on, man? I figured the topic tonight was going to be an update on the stolen valor bill, but I figured, you know what? Shit, let me shoot a message off and see if you wouldn't mind talking about it, man. So
you caught me in my rest time, but I'm good.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. My apologies. So there's been a lot of news happening over the last, 72 hours.
Yeah. Pretty good bit of news. So we finally got the bill to the Senate, and it got voted on, and only one senator. It was a bipartisan vote. Only one senator voted against it. He would not explain why he voted against it. Surprisingly, Senator Wendy Rogers stood up and voted yes and gave this big speech and tried to pretend that she was the champion of this bill when she's the one we've been fighting from day one to get this bill across the finish line.
Exactly.
I mean, from day one, she's fought us on this bill. She actually killed the original bill, which was HB 2030. And if it wasn't for Senator Shauna Bullock, who came and gave us her bill, which had already passed through the Senate, and she did what they call her striker amendment. She basically took all of her wording out of her bill and took HB 2030's Senator or Representative Blackman's bill, placed that wording in that bill, which bypassed Wendy Rogers, and effectively brought the bill back to life, basically, thanks to her. And she still tried to kill it. She went to Senator Peterson, which is the president of the Senate, and tried to get him not to hear the bill, not to put it on the floor for a vote. But under the pressure of thousands of veterans, man, I mean, not only just across Arizona, but across the nation. I mean, I was getting text messages from senators and representatives saying, man, they are bombarding the State House. They were showing up in person, saying, hey, put this bill up for a vote. So President Peterson put it up for a vote. It passed the Senate. As soon as maybe 15 minutes after it passed the Senate, Fox News ran into the governor and said, hey, the stolen valor bill passed Senate. Are you going to sign it? And she actually agreed. She said, yes, she was going to sign the bill. From what I'm hearing now, she's going to sign the bill tomorrow. But there's going to be like an official ceremony where they're going to invite veterans in sometime in the next couple of weeks, where there's going to be, kind of like the president does when he signs his executive orders.
Yep.
And they're going to invite veterans, and the sponsor of the bill, which was Representative Blackman, Shauna Bullock, Master Sergeant Dona, whose father the bill is named after, to an official signing ceremony. And yeah, but Rogers, I don't understand her. She tried to kill the bill for Steve Slayton. We all know that. Because now this bill is going to become law, because once the governor signs it, there's what they call a 90-day cooling off period. So that means there will be 90 days before the bill actually becomes law in Arizona. But once it becomes law, if he tries to run for office next election on his lies, and he raises money based on his combat veteran claims and all of this, he can be prosecuted.
So now a person asked us before about, and we never got to this. Now this is from here on out, right? This is not going to be retroactive. So from this point forward, the Orlando Dona Stolen Valor Act is going to be enacted, like you said, 90-day period, and then from that point forward, that's when it's going to be considered.
Right. It's not retroactive.
Okay.
But if from that 90 days from the governor's signature, which I talked to some senators today. They're reaching out to the governor's office to find out when she's at. She said she's going to sign it tomorrow, but there's some reporters like tomorrow I'm going to be on Fox News, and they're trying to get an actual time she's going to sign it, because they want to. I guess Fox News wants to be there when she signs it. But then there's going to be a ceremonial signing take place in the next week or so that veterans in the area can be present when she actually signs the bill into law.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
Now that I got the article up there next to us right there from Phoenix New Times, what was she saying? What was Wendy Rogers saying about the bill now? Once it passed, I mean, once it passed, she started saying what?
She stood up and she gave this big speech. I can't remember all of her wording. Basically, you know, how she stands up for veterans, and you know, this bill is a product of compromise in the Senate and the House. And the thing was, she had nothing to do with the bill. Once she killed it in her committee, once it passed the House and it went to her committee, she killed it. There were 72 veterans standing in that room that day, ready to give testimony for the bill, of course.
Of course, yeah.
And she had it on her agenda. That's why these guys showed up. Vietnam vets, man. I mean, GWAT vets all showed up. And before the committee even started, she said, "I'm shelving HB 2030." She claims she reached out to Representative Blackman's office to talk about an amendment to the bill. She did not do that. I actually spoke with Representative Blackman. I spoke with his office. They actually went back to look through emails, phone calls. She had not contacted their office whatsoever. And she didn't want to just amend the bill. She wanted to strike all the wording from the bill and basically make it mirror the federal bill, which would make it worthless. I mean, the federal bill is pretty much worthless now as it sits. And, you know, nobody's ever hardly prosecuted under that federal bill. That's why the states are coming up and doing their own bills now. So once she killed it, Senator Shauna Bullock stood up and said, "Hey, you know," she gave Walt Blackman her SB 1424 bill, which had something to do with liquor licensing or something. She basically struck her wording from it, added his Stolen Valor bill wording, which automatically made it pass out of Senator Wendy Rogers' hands.
Correct. Yeah.
There was some back and forth with Peterson, the Senate president. Actually, I talked to him today on Twitter. He congratulated me, and I told him, I said, "Hey, President Peterson, it was never nothing personal," because me and him had some words about it.
Yep.
I said, "Look," I said, "you know, there's nothing wrong with this bill. It's constitutional. Lawyers have looked over it. I've had constitutional scholars look over it. It matches Florida's bill. You know, it doesn't violate anybody's First Amendment rights. You can still go to the bar and claim you're a Navy SEAL." You know, so she had no say in it whatsoever. But she did try to go to Peterson after the striker bill came up and tried to get him not to put the bill to the floor. But there was so much pressure from the veteran community, man. I mean, if the country could come together like veterans can on stuff like this bill, you know, even people have been talking about it since yesterday, saying, "Hey, this is the only bill Arizona has seen get bipartisan support in years."
Yeah.
In years. I mean, one person voted against it, you know, and he will not give a reason as to why. Fox News has reached out to him, ABC's reached out to him, and he has no comment on his no vote. But it was Democrats and Republicans all voted yes for the bill. As you can see there, the only no vote was Hoffman. I think that's his name.
Yeah.
Senator Hoffman. Yeah. But yeah, Rogers voted yes, which surprised me because she's been so against the bill. But then when she stood up and gave this speech that she was the champion of this bill and released a press release saying she's been behind it the whole time, that her and Walt Blackman came together and made amendments, that's a lie.
Yeah.
I've spoken to Representative Blackman. I work with him on this bill. I speak with him on a daily basis. And he's assured me she had nothing to do with this bill once she killed it.
Mm-hmm.
The only amendment that was made to the bill after the striker bill was constructed was Warren Peterson, the president, wanted to add in some Arizona state law so it would match up with their statutes, basically a frauds and schemes statute that's already on the Arizona books. He wanted to add that in there. Other than that, there was no more amendments made to the bill after it was written, like she's trying to claim. She had nothing to do with it after she killed it the original time in her committee, period.
Most of it too is, and I have had, and I do appreciate, and I'm honored that every time you invite me to a space, man, it's cool that I get to speak with some of these veterans and Walt Blackman, just that whole, I mean, the dialogue, I mean, you could see how passionate everybody was on, like you were saying, on both sides. It was legit of a, it was not partisan at all. It was like a right thing to do type of thing. You know what I mean? It was, wow, this is great.
Yeah, like on the spaces, we had Republican and we had Democratic senators in those spaces. Senator Ortiz, I mean, she's a Democratic senator, and I have to give her a shout out because she stood up when Senator Rogers killed the bill in committee, and said, "I'm not hearing this bill." At the end of the committee, Senator Ortiz tried to force a voice vote on the floor, and Rogers wouldn't allow it. She said, "No, I've killed this bill." And Ortiz was like, "No, it's already on the agenda. We can do a voice vote." And Rogers basically gabbled out and said, "No, we're not doing it." Ortiz also stood up in the Senate before Wendy Rogers gave her vote, and she didn't call Wendy Rogers out by name, but she spoke on that subject. She said, there's certain people in the Senate that are trying to champion Senate. They had something to do with this bill when all they did was try to kill it. And I have to applaud Ortiz for her getting behind this bill like she did. And Peterson, me and him talked today. He congratulated me. I told him, I said, "Look, man, nothing personal between, it was never nothing personal between me and you. This was about the veterans, and so he understood, and eventually he allowed it to come to, because originally he was going to allow Wendy Rogers to have a say as to whether it got voted on in the Senate floor. And if she would have had a say at that point, she would not have let it went to the Senate for a vote. But so many veterans stood up and said, "Bullshit. It needs to go to the floor for a vote. Let the people decide." And so Peterson did do the right thing in the end. And he let it go to the floor for a vote, and it passed almost unanimously. Like I said, one Republican vote. He's a Republican. Hoffman is. He was the only nay vote in the entire Senate.
Did he give a reason why? Was there
He
any?
did not. He did not. He would. Usually when you give your vote, you're allowed to explain your vote in the Senate.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
He did not explain his vote. Fox News, Trenton Hooker reached out to him and tried to get a comment from him on why he voted no. He would not respond to them for a comment. He won't. If people go on his X and say, "Hey, why'd you vote no? What's your excuse?" He will not tell anybody what his no vote, what the reasoning behind his no vote. So it's a mystery.
Is he? I'm about to say, is he going to talk at all? Do you think he's going to say anything?
No, I don't think he will. I don't know what his reasoning is behind his no vote. I think he just voted no, and he's going to leave it at that. I've called him out several times on X and said, "Hey, what's your reasoning behind this?" He won't respond. I'm still continuing to call Wendy Rogers out because, for her to claim she championed this bill and claim that she was behind this bill the whole time for her to stand up there as a veteran, for one, to lie like us veterans can't hear, we can't see.
Right.
We're just supposed to take her at her word when they've watched this. The whole nation has watched this bill.
Oh yeah.
From the time it began till now.
Yeah. Matter of fact, let me throw up the statement that she put up.
Yeah.
And this is her quotes. "It was a challenge, but I was confident we could reach an agreement. I want to thank the bill sponsor and everyone who got involved to get this done. I will always protect our veterans. I look forward to voting for the bill when it comes to the floor." That's when she was.
Yeah, she supports stolen valor is what she does, because she's still to this day. It was a week ago. She was on a local radio show, and veterans were calling in and asking her to denounce Steve Slayton, and she refused to. She still claims that Steve Slayton was on some high-speed, undercover, classified, top-secret mission in a Cobra helicopter in Vietnam in 1974. She just, I don't understand her, and unfortunately, Arizona has a large veteran population. 600,000 veterans live in Arizona.
Wow. Oh wow.
And if it's one thing a veteran will do is go to the vote is go to the box and vote. They will vote. Veterans vote. They exercise that right.
Yep.
And so, unfortunately for her, what she's doing now, I believe, is trying to save her own ass. Excuse my French. She's trying to save her own ass. She's seen how popular this bill was with veterans. She's seen how many veterans she pissed off, and the 70 some odd veterans she basically spit in their face whenever she canceled the bill, and they had driven miles and some from out of state to come give testimony on this bill. And she just basically spit in their face. And I think when she seen that backlash coming, she knew that the veteran vote, that she was about to lose it. So her saving grace, I guess, as she thought, is vote yes on the bill and then give this speech on the Senate floor that she's been the champion behind this bill the whole time, that her and the bill sponsor, Representative Blackman, came together and on these amendments for a better bill. The bill, and it's a complete lie. Blackman and Rogers did not talk.
Correct.
From the time she killed that bill.
Correct.
Till SB 1424 was voted on in the Senate. The only amendment that was made was what Warren Peterson asked to be put in, which was the Arizona statute for frauds and schemes. That is the only change that was made to the bill.
Not to mention the fact that isn't her term coming up? I know this is a Monday edition conversation, but isn't her term coming up for she's going to have to run again, right? And
right.
And so I guarantee it. Has anybody come out of, I don't want to say come out of the woodwork, but I don't know, I'll say it. Has anybody come out of the woodwork to say, oh, screw this. I'm gonna go against her. I'm gonna run against her. Has anybody come out to do that?
Let's just say some little birdies I've talked to have said that there may be, she may have some competition coming up in this next election.
Good.
I'm not at liberty to put names out or anything like that, but I'll just say that some little birdies in the Republican Party itself are not too happy with Miss Rogers. And this goes all the way up to Capitol Hill, to the Trump admin. They're not very happy with her. Just, my thing is, her and Slayton, they both think because they support Trump, and he's got this Trump store and he sells Trump teddy bears, and she walks around with her Trump shoes and her Trump watch, that's all the support she needs. All she has to do is say Trump, and she thinks everybody's going to vote for her. She thinks that, we can't think for ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll vote for me anyways because I support Trump. So everybody supports Trump. I think you brought up a good point too, is that veterans do vote and they also remember. I mean, I think this is, since we've known each other, I think this is the longest fight we've ever been in for this type of legislation. The Florida stuff, easy. North Carolina, all the other bills that you and I have been involved with or have, talked about or whatever, never had any drama. Stuff just passed. Everything's great. You get on there, talk about what it is, and I'm pretty sure you're tired of hearing, or I'd say you're probably tired of telling your same story over and over again. Where'd you come from? Where this? What is this? And you got a haircut, by the way.
Yeah, I did, man.
I'm about to say you're looking pretty fresh there.
Yep.
And so I think out of knowing you and knowing what you've been doing, running the Guardians of Valor page, this is the longest fight I think we've ever come across.
It has been, man. It has been, and when I say we've been burning the midnight oil, that is no shit, man. Yeah. I've been on the phone. I've got a group chat I'm in with several senators and representatives that were working on this bill. Several lawyers, constitutional scholars. Doug Sterner, take him for example. He wasn't even involved in this legislation. He was him and his wife wrote the original Stolen Valor federal bill. Right. We even had him look it over, and he said, this looks good. It's constitutional. It'll pass muster. He said, it looks just like Florida's bill. Florida's bill's already been constitutionally tested. It's good to go. But Wendy Rogers, that was her fight this whole time. Is the bill's unconstitutional, but the whole time the only thing she was doing was trying to protect Steve Slayton, because once this bill passes, he can run for office, but he can't run for office on his past lies. So he has to come out and tell the truth now.
Yeah, now he has to say, I was just a lowly mechanic. Well, not really. So that's the thing too. He wasn't really just a lowly mechanic. He was in Korea during that time was also a hot spot as well. Our relations with the North Korea, it was touchy. You had the axe murder incident going around during that, all that stuff. So it was really, you don't have to lie. There's no need for you to embellish your. Hey, man, I was a helicopter mechanic out in Korea. You know, the blah 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 blah. Here's some stuff that happened during this time, and that's all you had to say. That's literally all I had. The extra stuff. I think if he would have ran on that in itself, he'd have been fine. He'd
been fine. He would have. He'd have been fine. If he would just come out and said, "Look, I served 4 years. You know, I was in Korea. I was an aircraft mechanic on the Cobras. You know, everybody would have supported that. You know, and that's what I don't get about some of these politicians. Run on your record. Nobody gives a damn. The civilian population doesn't care if you were a Navy SEAL or if you were a cook.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to run on your record, run on your record.
Right.
You know, I mean, because guess what? This is what happens. Somebody's going to call you out. And I have to say, thanks to Steve Slayton, now Arizona has a stolen valor bill. He is the main reason this bill was presented, because of what he did and to get elected to office, lying to all the constituents about his battles in Vietnam.
Yeah. Now, does this make this bill tougher than the one in Florida, or is it about the same?
They're about the same. Okay. Actually, Florida, as we were looking at the Arizona bill and the New Jersey bill, New Jersey has a tough bill as well. As we were looking at those bills, the Florida Senate has submitted amendments for their stolen valor bill to make it tougher, because they actually did not have the part about running for political office as part of their bill. And my thinking is they seen Arizona going for the political part, because if you read Arizona's bill, I think it's section A8, it says in there, if you lie in about your military service while running for political office, that's a tangible benefit, because you're getting votes. A vote is a tangible benefit.
Yeah, I was about to say, yep.
Right. So Florida has gone back, and I haven't checked lately to see if it passed, but I'm sure it will. But they added amendments to their stolen valor bill that makes it illegal for someone to run for office and claim awards or, you know, the status of combat veteran, et cetera, in running for a political office.
Yeah, dude, that's like you were saying, all he had to do was just run it. This would not have come about unless if he hadn't just run on that stuff. Now, I'll walk on eggshells on this part. So the possible person running against, somebody just made a comment. Maybe Anthony is running.
Dude, I've been asked that several times.
Yeah, I know. That's why I keep telling you, man, we should just move to Arizona.
Yeah, right. Yeah, man, I don't like getting involved in politics. The only time I get involved in politics is when somebody lies about their service, like Slayton did. Yeah. Like Waltz did about his, you know, command sergeant major, like he's still doing. Somebody posted something today where he's given this speech to this university, and he has in there retired command sergeant major. Waltz, you're not a retired command sergeant major. You're a master sergeant. I mean, I finally got his records, his full, complete records jacket. It took me 8 months. They kept giving me the runaround. I'm friends with Sean Parnell. And Sean Parnell, before he got put into office at the Pentagon, he reached out to me and said, "Hey, man, what's the deal with your FOIAs?" And I told him, I said, "Dude, every time I try to get something from Fort Knox, they give me this bullshit line about there's some kind of guidance and they're not allowed to release any military records to third parties." Yeah. And it wasn't just me, it was other reporters.
Right.
Once he got onboarded at the Pentagon, dude, it was within a week. His records showed up in my inbox, 125 pages of records. And in those records, not only is there a demotion order, not only is there an NGB 22-1, which corrects his original NGB 22 that says he was a sergeant major, reduced him back down to a master sergeant. There's a memorandum that he signed that says this is a conditional promotion.
Yep.
If you do not complete your educational requirements, you will be reverted back to master sergeant. You know, and I just actually posted those earlier because he's giving some speech somewhere at this college, and he's got it in there that he's a retired command sergeant major. No, you're not. You're a retired master sergeant. You know, and it's just things like that, man, that, you know, and politics, and I've seen it over the past year being involved with this trying to get this bill passed. You know, I've been involved with other bills in other states, and it's never been like this. I mean, especially a veteran as Wendy Rogers is, you know, to fight the bill as hard as she did, you know, and the only thing that we can come up with is she was trying to protect Steve Slayton, because once this bill passes and the governor the last I heard, the governor is going to sign it officially. Let me check my text here. She's supposed to sign it officially tomorrow, which will be the law. She has Monday to. Arizona law says she has till Monday to sign all the bills on her desk, or they automatically become law if she doesn't veto them.
Gotcha.
But she's going to sign this bill. Fox News interviewed her the same day it passed, and so she signs it tomorrow, and then she's going to do an official ceremony. But right now they're trying to talk with Fox News is trying to get in touch with the governor and find out what time she's going to sign it tomorrow, because I think they want to be present.
Gotcha.
So,
God, this is, dude, I know. I will say this, though. All those late night texts, all the phone calls that you and I had, all the spaces we've been on. Bro, we've been on spaces for like almost 4 hours at many a times.
Hold on one second, dude.
Right, no problem.
Here, answer this. This is, we're trying to order food and the DoorDasher is having issues finding our house.
Oh, gotcha. No, it's just all the work. And just me being in the room. Everyone else has put a lot of work into this, man. And it's, to me, it's a frustrating portion. The frustrating part about me is that, like you were saying, Wendy Rogers was a veteran and she was fighting against this. This is the hill that she wanted to die on, man. I was just like, God, dude.
And it's the worst one she could die on, because because veterans, veterans vote. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she thinks just because she stood up and gave this big speech about how she supports veterans and that she championed this bill, that she was gonna that she's gonna re-get the veterans.
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna come back in and like, hi, thank you, Wendy Rogers. Thank you. If it wasn't for you, no, it was because of you that we were in this predicament to begin with. Now, here's a question that we have in the audience. Has anybody gone to her records?
Good question. I've been asked that actually.
Okay.
Several times by some people that are in the legislature that are now wondering if maybe there's something up with her records. So yes, I have requested her records. I haven't gotten them yet. But I have requested her records just to go through them. She was a pilot. I was not a pilot in the military. So I'm going to get some people that are more apt in that area, like you maybe, that can look over those flight logs and all this. Cause I know there's some things she's claimed, being one of the first 100 female veteran pilots, which I think is true. I'm not sure, I haven't looked into that.
Yeah. And she's an Air Force pilot. So Air Force and Army records go different. So like for Army flight records, there's the DA Form 759 series that has all the records and the jacket. The Air Force, I can't remember the Air Force one, but yeah, I know what you're saying. It just because, what about the money? Yeah, exactly that. What money is she getting?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's another thing that, I try to stay out of that area. All I can say to that is there has been some questions, and there are other people that work that type of investigation that are looking into that. I don't do that. I do the military stuff.
Right.
But there's others out there. For like Molly Ottman from the Mountain Daily Star.
Yes, Molly's been.
I worked with her from day one. She's actually the one that turned me on to Steve Slayton. She called me up, her Master Sergeant Donna, and said, "Hey man, this guy's lying about his record. Can you look into it?" I looked into it, and that's where it all started. Mm-hmm. And of course, the election came up, and I stayed on Steve Slayton's ass and kept putting it out there that he was lying about his service, and he lost the election big time. He lost by a huge margin. To Walt Blackman. And even after that, she still supported him. Up until, like I said, a week ago, she was still supporting him. Someone would call into the radio show and say, "Hey, are you gonna, say something about Slayton's stolen valor?" And she's like, "Oh, that's private. We're talking about legislation, blah, blah, blah." She will not denounce Slayton. For some reason, she will not denounce him. Like I said, there could be a lot of stuff that ties into that. If you look on my X, you'll see people that are actually commenting that have done some investigative legwork on these donations and stuff that are coming into her campaign. And her PAC, that I guess it's her PAC, is ran by her nephew. Which to me seems to be, there would be some kind of
Conflict of interest. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Vince Rogers actually runs her PAC. And Slayton's donated. I know for a fact, I've actually went out there and looked. Anybody can look to see what somebody's donated to anybody. And I think he's donated just to her Senate campaign. I think he donated in excess of $10,000. His wife also donated, and it's like, dude, you got a little Trump store in the middle of Sholo, Arizona, population 12,000.
Yeah.
Where are you getting all this money from?
Yeah, exactly. If you were to get everybody to buy at least a couple items from your store, it wouldn't even add up to the amount of money that's being donated to the. There's a math and population mix there.
But there are others looking into those areas. I'm not going to speak on that because that's not my expertise.
Yeah. No, I get it.
But yes, they're being looked into.
That's understandable.
Something's just not adding up, man. I mean, because if she wasn't a veteran, maybe I could see her being against the bill in some way, shape, or form. But she'd always come up with some excuse. It was unconstitutional. Then it was that the criminal punishment was too much.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was originally 15 years class felony if you got over $50,000, and I think Peterson actually had that knocked back down to 12. But as far as the bill, it's still intact,
right,
completely as it was as the original HB 2030. She wanted to knock it down and make it like the federal bill, because then Steve Slayton could have ran, because he wasn't claiming it. In the federal bill, you have to be claiming a Valor Award, like a CIB or a Silver Star, which he didn't. And so that would have made it to where he could run again in the next election without getting in trouble. So,
man. So, I guess we could say for right now we could breathe a sigh of relief until the signing, and then we're gonna share it. I've already told the team, hey, anything that comes up for this part, looking forward to sharing this stuff because this is big news. Also, you just celebrated a milestone. YouTube sent you some plaques and awards.
Yeah,
and,
man.
Yeah. What to say?
It's 100,000 YouTube subscriber.
Look at that, dude. Look at that. That's baller, dude. Look at that. Reflection. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, I know, right? I didn't even know they gave awards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if there's anybody who could verify, it'd be your own records. You can say, hey, look, right. So here's the thing. And me and Anthony always shoot the shit behind the scenes, or we'll shoot the shit on X. Anthony has been accused of stolen valor. And so So the W.T.F Nation, we're like, dudes, he's been around. And so this, if anything else, I'm glad you posted it on your page. Legit, because
when I started the new page on Facebook. That's not the real stolen valor.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, I lost my 1 million follower page. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt, man. It just, I know that's what we're going through right now. We are about. I guarantee it. Facebook is just waiting for the right meme or the right fucking sex toy to pop up, and that's
right.
It. We're gone. So aside from that, so you said anytime tomorrow that they'll do the how do I say
she's
this?
Gonna sign,
the official.
She's going to sign it actually into law tomorrow.
Gotcha.
The official signature. We're still working on trying to find the time. They've reached out to her office. Several senators and representatives reached out and said, hey, what time are you going to sign the bill tomorrow? Fox News has reached out to her. Okay. And so we should have an answer, maybe not tonight, maybe early tomorrow morning, on what time she's going to sign the bill. And then there, like I said, there'll be an official ceremony in the next week or so where she's going to invite veterans. And it has been told to the governor's office that Senator Wendy Rogers and Senator Mark Fincham are not to be invited to that ceremony because, I mean, you don't hear much about Fincham right now, but Fincham was right there with her when he originally tried to kill the bill, or when she originally tried to kill the bill.
Yeah, there was some barbs being thrown back and forth with that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So, man. Well, brother, well, thanks for hanging out and shooting the breeze. And, you know, shit, I might as well just do some housekeeping. You want to hang out for a little bit while I do some housekeeping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Hey, so make sure you tune in. We're broadcasting live on 5 different platforms. I saw Twitter was glitching a little bit. I know Twitter's been acting sketchy, making everybody, they've been reporting community notes or violet, you know, saying that this is against, what do they call it? The, terms of service or whatever.
Hate speech. It's been calling it hate speech.
Yeah. So what they do is if you got a live going on and they send something, bam, I don't know what's going on. So luckily our AI high speed mechanisms that CQ put in, it reposted immediately. So don't freak out. 2 Facebook pages at U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio. 2 YouTube pages at U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio. Not as grandiose and as massive, dude. I can't believe 100,000 followers on your YouTube, bro. I mean, that's awesome.
Yep. And the thing is, I haven't used it much since I came back to doing this, but I've been talking to a few people, and we may start doing, you know, some videos like covering like the Steve Slayton story.
Yeah. Phil, and you have, dude. Yeah, if you want me and you can go. You know, we could talk offline to get some of the, like little podcasts like this to post up and share. So that way you can, and you know, I can, if you don't know how to do that or you need some help with that, let me know. Oh, okay. Yeah. I can help you out with that stuff. You know, I can help you out with that stuff. This is fun.
Cool.
Did we catch a ban like Bill Burr did for asking Elon if he was mad about being, no, we caught a, while we were on air, we caught like a multi-strike. It was, you are going to have your page deleted forever. And you, and we were trying to look at to see what it was. And it says, we took it down. If you want, and you can't fight back for it, you can't appeal it. And then they couldn't show us what it was. And so Facebook has been really, and Twitter's been really wonky. So it doesn't matter because you can, like I said, you can ban us, but you can't ban all of us. So there'll be another backup page, just like with you. I'm glad to see your page is starting to generate some follows too. Also, so make sure you also check on the top of the page. Get onto Hots and Cots. Hots and Cots also is working with PCS like a pro. And now are considering adding a field chow tab. That's what I'm talking about. Get some field chow, so that way you guys can brag or say, "Hey man, my chow sucks." And don't forget, of course, we have reestablished and we've reopened the shop. So if you want to get some stickers, you want to get some, some stickers, swag, hats, and all that. We have selected some individuals that are going to get some special items. And so once they get that in, please, we ask if you can sport that stuff and represent, because we appreciate your guys' stuff. And I again, I'm so freaking glad this stuff's back up, man. I'm just glad that everyone's pages and stuff is working again because, dude, man.
I don't know if you covered this or not, but you hear that Dakota Meyer re-enlisted in the Marine Corps today.
Yes, that was going to be one of the stories we were going to discuss. But that, I don't want to say you came into. Let's do it this way. Your updates was more important than Dakota. Dakota Meyer's, he's cool, but it was just, I wanted to make sure that we got your information out because I know we've been tracking this and following this big time. But yes, Dakota Meyer. I'm glad you brought that up. Might as well. I'll just throw up the screen grab here.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how that works. He's a Medal of Honor recipient, so now even his senior officers have to salute him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How does that? You ain't lying, dude. How does that even work? As a matter of fact, let me drop the X link in here so that way you guys can bring on the swag. Exactly that, Mike. There you go. I dropped the X link in there. The DoD response cell.
To the same. That will bear truth.
This is hang on. Let me open this up right here, and you guys can see the video of his so now he's not. Everyone asked, is he joining the active component or is he joining the reserves? He is joining the reserves.
Yeah.
And so I know some of my friends we were joking around about that. All right, Sergeant, he's coming in as a sergeant. All right, show up to formation. How do you tell a Medal of Honor recipient to show up to formation?
Right.
How do you, hey, Sergeant, how come you not? You know what I mean? So, but he is operating the capacity in the reserve component of the Marine Corps. So congratulations, Sergeant Meyer, for coming back in. Man, I'm kind of, all these guys coming back in, bro. Do you get miss it? Do you want to go, hey man, just to try to.
I do, man.
Yeah,
I do.
exactly.
My son's actually joining the Corps, and he actually went out for PT today with his recruiters. So he actually ships the 26th of August.
Awesome.
To Marine Corps Paris Island. So,
oh man, he's not gonna be a Hollywood Marine, as everyone likes to say.
Not gonna be a Hollywood
Not
Marine.
gonna be a Hollywood Marine. That's so, well. Congratulations on that one too. That's so awesome, bro. I remember when he was just a little. I mean,
yeah.
God, man. So congratulations, Sergeant Meyer. This is awesome. But again, I just want to know how it's gonna work. Hey, Sergeant, you show up to formation. What do you? You got staff
And
duty.
And he never has to deploy again if he doesn't want to, because he's got the Medal of Honor.
Right. Yeah, don't send him, because he'll be like Barcelona, dude. He'll be like that. Yeah, dude. Those Marines, they'll I'm just saying, he'll probably get stacked up again, almost like Gunny Highway from Heartbreak Ridge. You know what I mean? He's going to be back in the Marine Corps. But yeah, dude, that's awesome. That's so cool. So yeah, I was gonna bring that story up, but like I said, I wanted to update the audience on the Stolen Valor stuff, because people ask more about that. But again, congrats to Sergeant Meyer. Welcome back. Welcome back into the military. If you guys don't know, he received the Medal of Honor for, what was it? Saved like 36 Marines and Afghan soldiers and stuff like that. And I'll say it, he defied orders because there was somebody that was telling him not to do it. That's what the story goes. The lore goes. Is that most Medal of Honor recipients, that's how they get their medal anyways. They get their medals by doing something that, hey, you can't go do that, and like, screw that, I'm gonna go do it anyways. And then
that's what happened with my buddy. My buddy in Afghanistan got the Bronze Star with Valor. He defied orders. There was a wounded soldier, and everybody was under fire, and he ran out there under fire and against his squad leader's orders, and dragged the wounded soldier back to safety. And got the Bronze Star with Valor for that. So.
Sometimes for awards like that, I kind of think that we need to just do the real look. Like, let's look at it from a different lens. Like, some people say, no, I'll just leave things the way they lie. But then I think about, the Chapman story. And then I think about, that's going to be a Monday conversation. We're going to talk about the Medal of Honor Museum, because holy crap, that's
a mess.
That is a huge mess. And then Benghazi and all that other stuff too. So it's like, but hey, brother, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, brother, anytime, man.
All right, guys, I'm gonna take off. Me and Anthony are gonna shoot the shit. Andy, I'm just looking at somebody's name. Anthony's gonna shoot the shit about some other stuff. So again, thank you guys so much for hanging out, and make sure you tune in to what do we got going on tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. They already did. I think they're gonna do FTX, but then make sure, of course, we have Saturday with W.T.F Nation Gaming. So other than that, shots. Y'all have a good night. See you.
Hey, this is SEAC retired John Wayne Troxel. You're listening to WTF Nation Radio, the station of choice for all of the badass MFers on the planet.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Driving us insane. ATF zero time, 30, no time to complain. Push up in the mud, feel the muscle strain. Army life is a wild ride. WTF moments can't hide. Through the fire we survive, in the ranks we thrive. It's WTF moments in the Army's grind. Through the blood and sweat we find our kind. In the chaos and the fire we stand aligned. Warriors forged in the battle's bind. Hilltops in the desert, sandstorms in our rise. Memories for breakfast, no room for lies. Blood marches through the night under starless skies. Brothers and sisters we rise. Army life is a wild ride. WTF moments can't hide. Through the fire we survive, in the ranks we thrive. It's WTF moments in the Army's grind. Through the blood and sweat we find our kind. In the chaos and the fire we stand aligned. Warriors forged in the battle's bind. Drill sergeant's fury echoing in the air. Discipline and duty we all must bear. Battle bodies by our side in the fight we share. In the face of danger we dare. Army life, it's a wild ride. WTF moments can't hide. Through the fire we survive, in the the ranks we thrive. It's WTF moments in the army's grind. Through the blood and sweat we find our kind. In the chaos and the fire we stand aligned. Warriors forged in the battle's bind. Souls and firefights, adrenaline's rush. Silent nights, broken by the enemy's hush. Medics on the move in the heat of the crush. In the heart of battle we trust. It's WTF moments in the army's grind. Through the blood and sweat we find out our kind. In the chaos and the fire we stand aligned. Warriors forged in the battle line. It's a wild ride. WTF moments can't hide. Through the fire we survive. In the ranks we thrive. Homecoming's bittersweet, memories in our mind. Brothers lost but never left behind. Army WTF moments in the stories we find. In the army's embrace, we're forever entwined. It's WTF moments in the army's grind. Through the blood and sweat we find out our kind. In the chaos and the fire we stand aligned. Warriors forged in the battle's bind. Through the smoke and the flames we rise again. In the heart of the storm we find our sin. Battle buddies by our side, our men. In the army's legacy we transcend.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.